know my next tournament's going to be Binghamton, so hopefully we'll see you guys out there.
All right. In the U.S. Open, do you know anything about the U.S. Open?
We're pretty confident that we'll get a wild card because traditionally, and if an American wins the singles or if an American team wins the doubles, they get awarded a wild card for the main draw. So I'm hoping it won't change that for this year, but.
So this is USTA New England Member Appreciation Day. All you have to do is tell the USTA that you've done something nice for USTA New England, and you just so happen to win the NCAA championship.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get it, but I mean it would be a great opportunity. We'd be really excited to go back.
And here, what have you thought about your experience here in Newport? Have either of you been here before?
This is my first time.
Yeah, this is my first time, and just kind of like walking the grounds and seeing like this is where some of the greatest tennis players have played, the Hall of Fame, where all of the best are enshrined forever. It's just really. It's like just a historic feel to it, and it's really special to come and be able to not only just come to visit, which would be special, but to participate in the tournament just makes it that much better.
Did you take a tour of the museum?
We did twice.
Just so you guys know, I knew the answer to that question because I was in the museum their first day, and I think they toured the museum before they hit the practice court. So, that's another reason you guys just took a wild card into the U.S. Open. What was the most interesting thing that you saw up in the museum?
There was a lot. I think one of them.
I know there's a lot. There's 1,900 artifacts.
I think one of the coolest ones was the rackets that were used in the Wimbledon match between Isner and Mahmoud. The longest match in the history of the game, probably will never get touched ever again. And to kind of see that piece of history, because I remember watching that match, and in the fifth set when it got to like 19-19 or something, one of my buddies that I was watching it got tired. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go do something else, and I couldn't stop watching. And like maybe 2 or 3 hours later, he calls down. He goes, "Who won?" I'm like, "No one. They're still playing." So he came down. That was at like 51 or something, and I remember watching that entire match. So seeing that in the museum was really cool for me.
And when he said he was going to go do something else, he went and played 18 holes of golf and came back 5 hours later, and they were
on the Xbox, but yeah.
Gosh, my son, that sounds exactly like what about you, Evan? What did you like up there?
There was a bunch of really cool artifacts, but I really enjoyed the Federer hologram thing. He's my favorite player, so it was just cool watching him like talk about stuff.
So you're the only one who's ever been here who said that Federer is your favorite player.
I'm sure.
So, have you ever seen him up close and in person?
I've seen him like a couple years ago when I was younger. I visited the U.S. Open. But not
You saw him
much.
practicing or playing a match?
Just practicing.
Yeah. Did you watch him play against Kevin Anderson last week?
I did not watch the whole match, but yes, I watched a lot of it.
What would you have done differently if you were Roger Federer?
With one of the match points.
You can't tell me that you don't watch with an eye of Roger. How did you miss that passing shot?
But still, I think he's the greatest of all time. One match here or there, he doesn't capitalize. I think it's still fine.
And he's not watching this right now, so you can actually be honest. But do you envision yourself when you're watching Roger play on center court?
That's definitely the goal, but I don't know if I can see myself exactly in that position, but that's where I want to be.
So you've referenced goals a couple of times. What's your long-term goal, Martin?
Kind of like Evan said, that's the end goal for all of us. That's why we work so hard. That's why we compete. And that's why we do this week to week, because we love competing. We love the game, and we want to make it to the big stages, and we want to be in those moments and play for the titles. And I think those are the goals that all of these tennis players here share, and that's definitely my goal is to make this a job and be successful with it.
And what are you going to judge yourself against? How do you evaluate progress when you're making your way through college tennis, or how do you imagine as a professional evaluating your progress?
Well, for me, over my 4 years at UCLA, I kind of worked my way up the scale. I started at number 3, number 4, and worked my way up to number 1 for my senior year. So seeing that progress, it was more kind of black and white because it was on paper. But just seeing my results, the way I'm playing, the way I'm feeling on the court, and like how confident I am, and just kind of just feeling like I'm building and getting better. I think that's the most important thing, just to keep improving and keep the right mindset and not really worry about the wins and the losses as much, but the process and just really getting better every day.
And you cannot say the same thing. You got to answer
I
it a little
definitely
bit
agree,
differently.
but I think something that's like a real confidence booster for me is seeing guys around my age who are doing who I competed with in the juniors and even in college, who are doing so well on the pro tour. So I'm saying, like, I could do that too if I work hard, if I do the right things, I could be there with them as well.
And who are some of those guys that you see doing well now that you don't think are any better or that much further ahead of you?
I mean, they're definitely good, but
Well, you're good.
Mackey's one of them. UCLA.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Mackey.
Mackey. I used to train with Francis for like 4 years in College Park. He's one of my good friends, so he's doing unbelievable recently. So
Yeah.
he's definitely one that I look to. That
Now there's there's an amazing group of young talent in America. So you do have the benefit of being able to associate with those who are doing well, those who are doing it the right way, and also those who are demonstrating success on the global stage. That's great. Evan, you said you're considering going back to school, considering also possibly not going back to school.
yes.
What will determine that for you?
Honestly, maybe see how I do in the summer. Yeah, I mean, my results, how I feel like I'm playing, if I feel like I'm ready enough to play at the pro level, or if I need a couple more years development still in college.
Is this your first ATP tournament?
Yes, it's my first ATP.
Yeah, it was my first one 28 years ago too. Also after my sophomore year in college. And I had just about the same approach entering my summer. I'll see how things go. Martin, your brother is quite a good player as well. He just finished at Arkansas.
Yeah, he just finished his master's degree, got his MBA while playing at Arkansas, and was also very successful. Was ranked top 5 in college for most of the year. Now he's seen a good bit of success on the pro tour because this is his first summer playing as a professional, and he's already 500 in the world and no indication of slowing down. So he's been seeing a good bit of success, and yeah, like you said, he's a great player as well.
And how do you match up with him?
Well,
You're both big lefties.
Both
right?
big lefties. He's a slightly bigger lefty, but
slower, right? Because the bigger they are, the slower they
of course. But
I can speak from experience.
we actually played a couple weeks ago in the Winnetka Challenger qualifying, and I beat him there. But it was interesting because the year before at Winnetka qualifying, we played each other again, and I beat him again. So I have the 2 direct wins over him in real matches. So that's my claim to fame over my brother.
One more, and he's your pigeon.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you beat somebody 3 times in a row, they're your pigeon. If you beat somebody 6 times in a row, they're your double pigeon. And for the little bro to be able to call the big bro pigeon, that makes for interesting dinner conversations.
Hopefully I can get 1 more, but 6. I mean, I don't want to take that much away from him. So.
Have you let him win sets at least?
No, I have
No.
not.
Great sets both times. I like it.
Oh, yes.
How's mom feel about that?
I don't know. Hopefully she's happy for me, but
So, no tennis player becomes, or no tennis player is really able to live the life that you both have lived without tremendous support from family and coaches and those really close to you. Tell us a little bit about your family, Evan, and then I'll ask the same about Martin.
Okay, my family actually very supportive, made a ton of sacrifices for my tennis game. Like for example, my dad still worked in Delaware. We moved to Maryland. We moved to California. He was still working in Delaware. He actually started working in China the beginning of this year, so I don't get to see him that much. But I mean, my mom doesn't get to see my dad either that much, so it's hard for her too. But that's the sacrifices that they're willing to make for me to, try and get to the next level.
And is Xu a Chinese name?
Yes.
Yes. And are they from China originally?
Yeah, my dad actually came to the U.S. for to go to school at the University of Michigan, so that's why we came.
All right, so you're getting closer to good schools. Right? I mean, Northwestern is better, Michigan State's better than Michigan, but it's okay. I grew up in East Lansing, so. So, are you an only child?
I have a sister who's actually also trying to make it on the WTA Pro Tour as well.
Really?
Yes.
Older sister, younger sister?
Older. She's older than me by 4 years.
What's her name?
Amy.
Amy Zhu.
Yeah.
Okay. What's her ranking?
She is in singles. She's around 800 or 900. In doubles, maybe 400, 500.
Okay. And is it just you and Michael?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's what? 2 years?
Not quite 2 years.
Not
Almost
quite.
2 years. 20 months.
Okay. So it's really not that big of a feat to be a guy just 20 months older than you.
I always look at it as beating up on bigger brother, so that's always going to be special to me. But
So you both have gone to a really good school. One of you has completed your undergraduate education. Have you given any thought to what happens after tennis?
Definitely. I think I want to play tennis as long as health permits, as long as I'm being successful, and try to really maximize as much as I can. But I think that coaching college tennis would be something I would enjoy a lot. Just working with guys and kind of seeing how our coaches at UCLA operated, and seeing their passion and their commitment for the game that I have the same passion for. I think sharing that with other players, kind of helping them develop like they've helped me develop, would be really special. And I can see myself really enjoying something like that.
Yeah, I would also try and play as long as I could. But I mean, my best subject is math, so if I did stay in school, I would probably major in econ or something, and I would want to do something business related, but I have no idea yet.
Okay, the Hall of Fame might be hiring. Just
Keep in mind.
I don't know. At my age, I might not be around anymore when you guys enter the job force. But does anybody have any questions for Evan or for Martin that you'd like to speak up? I remember you from last year. Have at it.
Oh, okay. And thanks for holding this for us. And thank you, Martin and Ivan, come to meet us. Okay, I have 2 questions. One question is very short. One question probably is very long. Okay. So, how tall are you guys? I mean, what's your height?
I am 6'5".
I'm 6'1".
Oh, very tall. That's good. Okay. So another question.
I know how tall I am.
You're too tall. You're taller than both of us.
That's what I was. That's actually the official measurement. Is too tall.
On the website it said too tall.
I took a picture with you. I'm over there. Okay, so I know you're very tall. Okay. So another question is, okay, how you both moved to Florida. Tell me why. I want to answer from both of you. And also, if she...
Now, this is 3 questions now.
It's related. Okay.
Florida. Let's
Let's go
Florida
for it.
first,
Okay.
So I moved to Florida because my brother and I got invited to train at the USTA National Training Center in Boca Raton, and we decided to take the opportunity to train there and really pursue our tennis and try and take it really seriously. And I mean, it's a huge sacrifice. Did high schooling online. It was a huge commitment to the tennis, and it ended up paying off for me because I got to a great school like UCLA and had success there. So I think there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, and it's just you have to weigh it against the pros and the cons against each other.
But California has a training center too, right?
They do, the one in Carson. I think that's it's still a national training center, but the main one was in Boca Raton. That's where they had the real base for player development, where they had their group of kids that they trained and traveled to tournaments and stuff like that. So,
And now player development is based out of Orlando at the home of American tennis or the USA
Oh, the new tennis. Okay, yeah.
And I actually did move to Florida. I moved to California from Maryland. So that's because we met Taylor then, and I thought he could take my game to the next level. So
And when you were with Taylor, you probably lived with Taylor, right?
no, I've stayed at a house a few times, but no, I don't live in it. Yeah, but there are players that.
Yeah, because he has an interesting. Taylor Den, a former player, actually has a unique model where he and his wife house the players that he works with.
Oh,
So it's pretty interesting. Anybody else have a question?
Europe. Now, if you could get into the European tour, what would be your favorite tournament to be in? Playing in Europe.
can I say Wimbledon? Because I think Wimbledon kind of like Newport and kind of like this venue
Who's
is
that?
really historic and kind of
Mario?
has
Oh,
seen
Mario's here.
the best of the best in the game.
She saw
and
you?
I think playing at Wimbledon would definitely be my number one choice.
Just because he said Wimbledon, I'll say French Open. I think they're just as good. I mean, yeah, you see the best players. If you could play in the tournament, that's like the top of the game. So.
Did you guys play junior Wimbledon? Play the junior French?
I did not.
I did. I was actually fortunate enough to play in all 4 of the junior Grand Slams. Played in Australia, Wimbledon, French, and the U.S. Open.
And had you ever played on grass before?
Like two times.
Two
like
times.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and what'd you guys think of the experience here?
It was definitely different.
It was unique. I think because this is more traditional grass, the softer grass. I think it plays like the grass used to play.
How do you know?
That's what I heard. But it was definitely a great experience, and I really enjoyed myself out there a lot.
Yeah, I mean, ball doesn't bounce too much, which is tough to get
What
used
court
to.
did you play on?
Right here, right behind us.
Other than that,
I can't do that every time. I'm not good enough for that. But yeah, it was definitely a great experience.
and do you feel like your game is suited towards grass, or would you rather be on the dirt if you're at the French or on
For
hard
me,
courts?
with my big serve, big first ball, I think that definitely favors a faster surface like grass, and just also being able to mix in the serve and volley, especially out here where the ball doesn't bounce as high. I think it suits my game pretty well.
I'd probably say the clay instead of the grass. I mean, I had some success on clay courts growing up in the juniors. I obviously haven't played on grass that much, but yeah, I just say the clay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, okay. I have a question. So related to Florida, okay. So this girl here, she's 9 years old. Actually, she won her first tournament, L6 Gold Triumph last year on the center court here. Yeah, that's her first win on the L6. So if you are the coach of her, but she likes tennis, she wanted to be in college at least or pro. So what are you gonna do to her? Florida or something else?
What?
Yeah.
Rather than a multiple choice question of California or Florida, how about if you tell this gentleman and his daughter what you think, what bit of guidance you would give her for wanting to become the best player she can be?
Well, I didn't move to Florida until I was 15, so it wasn't until I was a good bit older than she is right now. I think the most important thing, like starting out, is finding a coach that you trust and think can really help your game. Like I found a great coach, Evan found a great coach when we were younger, and worked with them for several years, and then we decided to move to really take it from where we were to really try and take it to the next level. So I mean, it's just really comes down to what your goals are and what you want to do with it at the end of the day. But I think the most important thing is to find, when you're coach that you trust and work with and work well with.
I also agree with that, but I also think like it's also how much the kid wants it. You know, sometimes when they're younger, they won't be as committed. You know, like, well, that's just for me. When I was like really younger, just starting, I was like, oh, tennis is just for fun. I'm just playing like, and then once I got to, for me, it was like 12 years old. My parents were like, do you want to go to this tennis academy, like play more hours, homeschool? And I knew I wanted to play pro, so I ended up choosing going to the academy.
Because many of her friends already doing the homeschool. Should she do that or homeschool or
No.
no?
Did you ask me?
Ask it.
All right, I gotta jump in. Live a normal life as long as you possibly can. And I can only tell you that as soon as you think that you can no longer get better living a normal life, you can probably still live a normal life and continue to get better. Eventually, a decision of commitment, focus, like what the boys have done, makes sense. But it's better to make that decision too late than too early. It can ruin a life if it's made too early.
What age did you guys do homeschool?
When I was
Yeah.
15,
15, okay.
I went to normal school all the way through my freshman year of high school, and then for my sophomore year of high school, that was my first year online when I moved to Florida at 15. So I would definitely 100% agree with what Todd's saying.
How about you, Ivan?
I was 12,
12.
so I was younger, but I still agree. You definitely don't want to go at it too early because that can, yeah.
And I think the justification for that is if you look at the best players in the world, Serena Williams is 35 years old, Roger Federer is 37 in a couple of weeks, or really soon. She's 9.
Yes, correct.
That's 27 years away. So what's the rush? I mean, if we just look at it from a logical perspective, common sense perspective, it's a marathon. It is no sprint. And I don't know if you picked up on it, but Martin said he played at all 4 junior Grand Slams, and as a senior, only as a senior in college did he play first singles for UCLA.
At number 1.
Yeah, first singles. So, Evan didn't play at any of them, or did you play the U.S. Open?
I didn't play any.
Didn't play one junior Grand Slam, and in his sophomore year is playing number 2 singles at one of the 4 best college tennis programs in the country. Development happens at different paces for everybody, so you got to just respect that and understand that if your passion continues, eventually things level out. They can probably beat me by now. So, bad joke. All right, so I'm going to give you guys both a chance for a parting shot. All right, sort of a trivia question. No, not a trivia question. Just a simple question about the game. I'm going to ask Evan first because Martin has answered every question first, and then Evan only has to do, I pretty much agree with him. Evan.
Yes.
The oldest male player that you know anything about.
Oldest.
Does not have to be active. You took a tour of the museum that represents 252 Hall of Famers. We need one man.
What's that?
I could just say Arthur Ashe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What do you know about him?
He went to UCLA.
Oh,
That's a good question. Good answer.
did you by any chance see a telegram in the museum from Jackie Robinson to Arthur Ashe?
I saw that with the what was
Do
it?
you know what a telegram is?
Not really.
It's like a tweet now.
You know what is telegram?
Yeah, it was like the West. Was it
Yeah.
West Point?
Well, Arthur was in the army.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when Arthur won the 1968 U.S. Open.